You know that feeling when it hits 5 o'clock in the evening? You've been running around like crazy all day long, and you suddenly think, wait, what did I actually accomplish today? We've all been there. Well, in today's explainer, we are uncovering a total masterclass in prioritization called the pickle jar theory. This is the ultimate visual model to help you stop wasting time, get out of the weeds, and finally start prioritizing your life effectively. Let's get into it.
Seriously, where did your day actually go? It's a genuinely painful, overwhelming feeling, isn't it? You end a completely exhausting day wondering why nothing meaningful actually got done. You responded to what, 100 messages? You sat through 5 different meetings that definitely could have been an email? You put out 3 unexpected fires for other people. And yet, that massive, deeply important project you promised yourself you'd finish, hasn't even been touched. The mental exhaustion is real. And it is incredibly frustrating to feel like you are constantly working, but never actually moving forward.
I want you to meet our stickman Hira. He is busy, he's exhausted, but he's completely unproductive. He perfectly illustrates that dreaded hamster wheel of busy work. He's running at absolutely full speed, but he's moving nowhere. And you know, there's a deep psychological reason for this. Our brains absolutely love the instant dopamine hit of completing tiny, easy tasks. Clearing out an inbox, it feels like a quick win. But this happens when we live reactively. When we let our environment and everyone else's emergencies dictate our schedule, rather than taking the reins ourselves, we just default to the easy stuff instead of the impactful stuff.
Okay, so let's dive into the tangible, practical solution to all that chaos, the pickle jar theory. It's a brilliantly simple visual metaphor for time management. Just imagine your typical workday is an empty pickle jar. This theory helps you figure out what is actually useful and what is just distracting noise, and it does this by forcing you to categorize every single task you have into 3 distinct items: rocks, pebbles, and sand.
Let's break down exactly what these items represent in your day-to-day routine. First up, we have the sand. This represents the disrupting elements and those easy little fillers of your day. Think the constant pinging of social media, text messages, casual office chatter, and endless minor emails. Next are the pebbles. These are tasks that definitely need to get done, like submitting an expense report or attending a quick weekly check-in, but they can easily be deferred to another day or even delegated to someone else. Finally, and absolutely most importantly, we have the rocks. These are the crucial tasks of your day, the big, meaningful goals that actually move the needle forward for you, like writing a project proposal, learning a new high-income skill, or doing some deep, focused coding.
Now, watch what happens to our stickman when he applies this. If he fills his jar with the sand first, meaning he lets social media, emails, and trivial disruptions eat up all his fresh morning energy, there's literally 0 room left for his important rocks. They just won't fit. But if he puts his large important rocks into the jar first, followed by the pebbles, well then the sand just naturally filters in and fills the empty spaces around them. The physics of the jar change entirely based on the order of operations. Everything fits perfectly when the priority is right.
Part 1. Identifying your rocks.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how we actually figure out which tasks deserve to be our heavy, high-priority rocks. Look, it's super easy to say do the important things first, but how do you choose? Well, Mark Twain famously said, "Eat a live frog first thing in the morning and nothing worse will happen to you the rest of the day." This is the core of the popular eat that frog method. According to the research, your biggest, most important, and honestly most dreaded task, your frog, should be your very first rock of the day. Why? Because your willpower is a finite resource. If you leave that giant frog for 4 o'clock in the afternoon, your mental energy is already depleted and it simply won't get done. You have to tackle it before anything else can even try to compete for your attention.
But wait, what about everything else that's trying to disguise itself as a rock? You have to aggressively filter out the noise. Our sources point to a brilliant concept called the Eisenhower matrix for this. It helps you distinguish between what is urgent and what is actually important. Urgent tasks are loud, right? They are usually someone else's problem shouting for your immediate attention. Important tasks, though, they're quiet. They are your long-term goals and your deep work. Just because someone else is panicking doesn't mean it's your rock. You have to delegate or delete those urgent but unimportant tasks so you can focus purely on your vital rocks.
Moving to Part 2. The 6-hour rule. So the crucial point here is how we schedule this.
6. Just 6 hours. That is the secret hack to actually making this theory work in the real world. You should never, ever plan more than 6 hours of tasks in a standard 8-hour workday. Now, I know that sounds entirely counterintuitive if you want to maximize productivity, especially to all the high achievers out there.
Hustle culture tells us we need to block out every single minute of a 12-hour day. But planning for 8 full hours of deep work is a guaranteed recipe for immediate burnout and inevitable failure.
And this brilliantly illustrates why the 6-hour rule actually works. In a standard 8-hour workday, you strictly dedicate 6 hours to your planned rocks and pebbles. The remaining 2 hours? That is your mandatory buffer zone. This buffer is specifically reserved for the sand, those inevitable disruptions, the unexpected phone calls, the quick favors for a coworker. Look, sand is an inevitable part of life. By actively planning a buffer for the chaos, you stop the chaos from overflowing and ruining the precious time you specifically blocked out for your rocks. Now you might be wondering, why compress my important rocks into just 6 hours? Well, here is the psychological secret behind it. Parkinson's law. It simply states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. Think about back in school when you had a whole month to write a paper versus just a single night. You got it done either way, right? If you give a task 8 hours, it will miraculously take exactly 8 hours. By giving your rocks a compressed, tighter deadline within those 6 hours, you stop them from endlessly ballooning and consuming your entire day. You literally force your brain to engage and work so much more efficiently.
Part 3. Executing your plan. Let's see how this builds into a daily routine. All right, here's how you finally win your day step by step. Step 1. Pick your daily rocks the night before. Do not waste your precious morning mental energy trying to decide what to do. Step 2. Eat your biggest frog first. Tackle your hardest, ugliest rock before you even think about opening your inbox. Step 3. Cap your planning at 6 hours to leverage Parkinson's law and stay ruthlessly efficient. And Step 4. Let the sand naturally fill the gaps in your buffer time. See? Our stickman is officially off the hamster wheel. He finally wins his day by mastering the physics of his jar.
So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. What is your absolute biggest rock for tomorrow? Seriously, don't wait until tomorrow morning to try and figure it out. Apply the pickle jar theory right now. Identify that live frog and write it down. Take control of your time. In fact, I challenge you to leave your answer in the comments right now. Always put your rocks in first, and we'll see you in the next explainer.